Hey, what's up? My name is Kristen, and in today's video, we are going to go through my meal planning process for the month of November. So if that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you're subscribed, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this month, I have actually already planned out my meals. I've got them written here. I'll explain that in a minute. But if you're interested in knowing how I get to that point, you can watch, I think I'll link it right here. I think it was October's video. If not, it might have been September's or something. Whatever video that I put up in this area, that will be a video that explains that process. For this month, since I already figured out what we're gonna be eating, I thought what I would do is show you how I make my grocery list after I write it out here on my monthly calendar thing here. So we're gonna use this, but I'm gonna set it to the side for right now. These are all the meal ideas. In a previous video, I had written them on this undated calendar, but then I realized I had this calendar that I had gotten, I think, from Walmart. It's a Mead brand, Cambridge. It's just a hanging, yeah, here's the front. It's just like a hanging 12-month wall calendar, and I liked it because I thought the colors were pretty. This has been hanging on my wall in my office for a while, and I just never use it. It's just, I have so many calendars. I love calendars, but I have so many of them that it just seems kind of silly. So I thought, since this one is dated, I'm gonna use this one. The other one is undated, so if I don't use it for a while, it's fine. It's not gonna go to waste. So let's use the dated one, and it saves me time because I don't have to write everything, like all the dates in. So here I have my list. What I went and I did is I just went down the list and wrote kind of like perpetual calendar style, the days of the week and then the dates that go with them. We've got like a week missing right here because I will not be cooking dinner that week. My husband and I will be out of town. Before you get all indignant about me putting future travel plans on the internet, there will be people at my house. It's fine. It's nothing. Yeah, we're good. So this is like perpetual calendar style, and that reminded me that a lot of people use these Erin Condren perpetual planners, or sorry, perpetual calendars that come with your planner. I don't use these, and I have quite a few of them. You get one with every LifePlanner. So I was thinking next year I could start doing it in here just to use it. And then I'll have like a record of what we ate each month. I think that's like a really good idea. Not like that I need to keep track of it, but maybe if I just need to look back on ideas to see like, how long ago did we have that one meal? Maybe we should repeat it again. I don't know. So that's another idea, but I just did it on a piece of notebook paper here because I have it. And this is just a plain spiral notebook from the grocery store. I'm almost done with it. I'm excited. I'm trying to use up all my stuff, and so it's nice to actually like get through something. Also, I'm left-handed, and so in these notebooks, I write on this side of the paper because why not? I can do what I want. Okay, so let's start with, oh, and one more thing. I just went ahead and highlighted each week so I could see the divisions in the week, so that it's basically just for like grocery list purposes. Okay, so I made a mistake here because this is a a Sunday through Saturday calendar, and I'm used to Monday through Sunday calendars, and so I did all right most of the way, and then when I got down here, I just looked at the Monday on my thing here and Anyway, that's all. Not a big deal. I don't need to go all crazy with fixing it. Maybe I will make chef salad on Sunday, who knows? Okay, so this is the week that my husband and I will be traveling, and the people in my house that week will just make their own food. So we'll figure that out, but it's not up to me to decide what they're gonna eat. So, and then some of the things here, we always do Fend for Yourself on Fridays, and Fend for Yourself is just either people that want to eat leftovers will eat leftovers, or we have like convenience foods like chicken nuggets and taquitos and stuff like that that are easy to throw in the air fryer. Basically, I do not cook for anybody on Friday. I am not responsible for cooking for anybody on Fridays every week, and I normally am the one that cooks, and so that's all. It's just a day off for me. And pizza is usually kind of a day off for me too, because we usually just do a frozen pizza, and sometimes we order pizza or go pick it up from like Little Caesars or something. But anyway, that's what those are. It's always the same Friday and Saturday, so I don't have to think of anything to cook those days. And let's get into, I have this recipe book here, and so a lot of the recipes that I need like an actual written recipe for are in this book. And if you haven't seen my explanation of this, I will link it right here. But essentially it's just, I have all my beef recipes behind a tab, chicken, sausage, that kind of thing, because then that's how I figure out what meals happen on which day. That's not set in stone. It's just something easy for me to, just to make it easier for me to look. So typically, Mondays tend to be like meatless meals. Tuesdays are usually chicken. Wednesdays are usually like a ground beef kind of thing. Thursdays alternate between sausage and seafood. And then of course Friday and Saturday are those. And then Sunday is usually like a Sunday supper kind of situation. Something like that's either like a comfort food or something that takes a little bit longer to make. What I want to do now is make grocery lists. I had kind of touched on this last month, I think, where I was going to make the lists ahead of time for each week. And I think I want to do that, but I'm not sure. I might just, for this video, I might just do like the first week just to show you how that would go. So let's turn the page here, and I have, I brought some of my lists over just so I could explain to you like how I've done lists in the past. And for reference for me too, because I am gonna change up my categories a little bit. Let's see, this was a printable from Blue Sky. I really love Blue Sky's like free downloads. I use their desktop wallpaper. It's got, they have a different one each month and like a calendar on it, and it's always really pretty. And then they have some free downloads. This one is actually not on their site. It's similar, but I changed it to fit mine just because I have those skills and I can put it in Adobe, and I really could have just made it myself, but I just kind of took it and switched around some things and added the grocery list situation over here. Yeah, but essentially they have a side for your meal plan, and then you have a side for your grocery list. I added the categories just for myself. I didn't really like this. This worked for this week because I didn't have a lot to buy, but like when I have like a full list, this is not enough room for me. But then I also have, and you can see like basically it goes to the store with me. I always like fold it. This one I didn't end up folding, but usually I'll fold it in half and then I can check things off as I go through each section. So speaking of sections, what I normally do is I just take my paper and I list out the different like sections of the grocery store first, and then I go through each recipe and I, write everything I need down in each section. I realized yesterday when I was at the store that this list format needs to be changed up a little bit because it's based on the store I used to shop at, and now I've been shopping at a different store and their store is set up differently. So what I usually like to do is do it in the order of the store, when you walk in. And so for this store, or the format for this store, the store is set up where you walk in and it kind of directs the traffic. So when you walk in, you're in the produce department and you get your produce, and there's not really any way to get out of the produce department to go to the next department unless you go through the whole thing. There are little like escape routes, but it's not like practical because one just takes you to the checkout lanes. And so it doesn't really, it's not really good for my shopping flow. So I prefer now with this, it's not a new store, it's just I'm going back to shopping at Walmart more often just because it's a lot cheaper, and we all know groceries are expensive right now. So the first section when I go into Walmart is still the produce department, but I actually go from the back of the store forwards. For me, that's easier. And with Walmart, like half the store is groceries and the other half is like household and clothing and health and beauty and stuff at mine. I know that different Walmarts are set up differently, but the one I go to all the time, when you walk in, it's like produce, and then the very back is like dairy. And then, so I don't want to put produce first anymore because I just want to be able to go down the list based on like where I start the shopping. So since dairy is in the back, I'm gonna put dairy, and then the bread aisle is on the dairy aisle. So now bread needs to be up here with dairy, and eggs are with dairy too, but eggs have always been with dairy, like in every store I've gone to, so I don't need to like note that. But my previous store, the dairy was near the frozen, and so I would just put all those together because those aren't categories that I have a ton of, and so I'm able to like combine them. So anyway, we've got dairy and bread together, and then the way I walk through there is after that it's like grocery, and so I don't like count lines or anything, I just kind of like eyeball it, and yeah. So the next is just like the main grocery aisles. And that's all just your basic, like, you know, anything that's like boxed or canned or whatever. And then the next section I'm gonna put below the grocery is the meat. And that's because in my Walmart, the meat kind of goes down the side of the store. And when I'm going up and down the aisles like this way, the meat is on this side. So every now and then the meat that I need might be at the end of the aisle. And so that makes more sense for me to put my meat right there. And I'm gonna put meat and cheese like that. Even though cheese is technically dairy, the cheese that I'm buying is usually over here next to the meat with like the packaged deli food. And then of course, like if I wanted fresh sliced deli, that's up at the front by the produce. So it's all kind of like all over the place, but it makes sense to me in my head. I'm just showing you this because I'm trying to tell you that it's like helpful to make your list in the order of your store or in the order that you shop in your store, so that you're not going all over the place like in the store. I don't get too crazy about like the order of the aisles here, just because I don't memorize where everything is. It's just when I'm going up and down those aisles, I just scan my little list here and see what could be in that area. So the next column is, let's say frozen, because that's the freezer aisles are like right after the grocery aisles. And I don't usually have a ton of frozen. It used to be combined with my dairy, and I usually just don't have a ton of it, but I'm just gonna, just for symmetry, I'm just gonna leave the line on the same. And then the next would be produce. And then the bakery and the deli are there too, but I'm not going to separate that out because I'd never buy like bakery stuff, and I just don't need to have the deli separated, because if I was gonna, normally we buy the packaged deli meat because that's what my kid likes the best. And so if there was an off chance that I needed something sliced fresh from the deli, that would just be like I would just know that there's like a special item there that I need to grab, you know? And then the last thing here, I'm gonna combine my household and my personal together, because that's just like, you know, paper towels or shampoo or whatever. And I don't usually need a ton of that, where I'm gonna have a bunch of lines that I need to fill up. This is also where I would write anything like miscellaneous, just like down at the bottom. So, okay, so that's just my list. I know that was probably a really long, drawn out explanation of how I make a grocery list, but I don't know, I just thought I would do that. The reason I think that my way might be different is because every time I see grocery lists on like as printables or notepads that you can buy, it's always a very small section. And I just don't understand how anyone has enough room. I grocery shop for a whole week, sometimes 2 weeks if I'm feeling like it. And I enjoy grocery shopping, so I typically just go once a week. And we don't buy a ton of stuff, but still those little lists are never enough that are like on the sides of like a meal plan. I don't know. It's weird to me. I need a full sheet of paper. Sometimes I don't use every line, but you know, sometimes I do. So let's get back to actually planning out what's on this list. And I'm gonna go through here and get the things that I need and just put them in the right category. So I'll speed that up, or better yet, I'll just come back maybe with the list done. Let's do that. Well, I'm back with my list. It's not a very big list because I am making this like ahead of time. And so like the basic things that I normally need, I don't know what that will be yet, because that's the other part of how I make my list, is I go write down everything that I need for my recipes. And then I go back in and add I check the levels of like the staple things like milk and stuff like that. I always buy eggs because we always use eggs. And so even if I have like almost a full carton of eggs, I'll buy another one. And then whatever's left at the end of the week, I usually try to make hard-boiled eggs or something. And so eggs I always need. But like just stuff that I know that we're gonna need, I already have it on there. Stuff that I know I have in the freezer, I didn't write on here. I just have other notes here that like I need sharp cheddar that week, and it's in the recipe, it's shredded. And so normally I buy block cheddar and then I shred it myself with my food processor, because I just think it melts better, because bagged shredded cheese has like a fine coating of something. I think it's like a cornstarch or cellulose or whatever it is. It's a substance to make it not stick together in the bag, but because of that, it doesn't melt as nice. However, in this specific recipe that I'm making, I found that it doesn't matter. And so it is actually it's a time saver to buy the bagged thing. Because one, I don't have to clean the food processor, and two, it's already shredded. And then usually there's coupons in the Ibotta app, which that's another thing, is I need to make a note up here to check Ibotta. I try to remember to look at that. I just like being able to get cash back for things I'm already buying. I don't really use it to buy things just to get cash back on them. I don't know. I find that usually, like if I do that, then we end up not using it or eating it. And plus there's a lot of packaged things that I can't eat or my husband can't eat. And so it doesn't always work out. But speaking of packaged things, I do want to show you some other stuff that I have found. Now, I'm all for convenience food. I like packaged food. I grew up eating packaged food. I have nothing against it at all. If you don't want to cook or whatever, and you guys eat, Hamburger Helper and mac and cheese and frozen chicken nuggets, I don't care. Feed your family. Do it. I would love to be able to do that. And I do. That's kind of what the Fend for Yourself night is, now that my son can prepare food on his own. But I can't eat wheat, and my husband doesn't eat dairy. And I also try to avoid sugar just for some other health reasons, added sugar. And so I have a hard time finding products, convenience products that work for us, like as a whole family, that don't have gluten and don't have dairy and are, you know, reasonably low in sugar or added sugar. So I just wanted to show you this stuff that I have found. As far as like convenience foods goes, this is Zatarain's reduced sodium jambalaya, and everybody in my family can eat this. It's just rice and seasonings and some like freeze-dried like onions and bell peppers and stuff like that. And so it's basically everything that I would, if I were making it from scratch, it's all that kind of stuff, and then you just add meat. It's not even that high in sodium because it is the reduced sodium one, and it tastes pretty good, and it's nice to have this in my pantry and a pack of this smoked sausage. I usually buy the I think it's the Butterball brand turkey smoked sausage. It's got low sugar, and it's just something that keeps a long time in my deli drawer. So it's like, if I just need to get together a meal, it's ready in 30 minutes. So this is actually on my list because I want to use it up. It's been in my pantry for about a month or two now, and so I want to use it before our trip. So these are some other things. I have all these like packets that one day I spent so much time in the packet section of the grocery store just looking. There's so many new ones that I don't remember seeing like the last time I ever looked. And so here's what I got for that. This is McCormick Street Taco Southwest Ranch Chicken Seasoning Mix. And yes, a lot of these are just seasonings that you can throw together if you have like a good enough, like a robust seasoning, like herbs and spices cabinet. And I have a lot, but this is so convenient. You don't have to measure anything out, and why not, right? So this is Southwest Ranch Chicken, and then it's got the instructions on here. This does have dairy, but my husband doesn't live with us full time because of work, and so this is like a good thing for just to make for me and my son. And I would do, like, there's directions on here that you do it in a skillet. I actually might just do this in the crock pot with some frozen chicken, and then just shred it and have tacos that way. But anyway, this is sheet pan bourbon pork. And so this is made for a pork tenderloin, and this one doesn't have any wheat or any dairy in it. So this is something that I can make when my husband's in town. I like the meal idea. It says to use sweet potatoes and onions, and then you just coat your tenderloin in this and bake it, and it just looks super convenient. Honey sriracha shrimp marinade, and it says you can use it with, you know, it says chicken, pork, or seafood would be good on this. And this is another thing that doesn't have any wheat or any dairy. It does have 1 gram of added sugar, but I'm okay with that. That's fine. That's fine for me. This is a teriyaki chicken one, and actually I forgot about this when I wrote this stir-fry chicken, so we'll probably use this that night. And this one doesn't have, oh, you know what? I can't make this. I think I bought this and then realized I couldn't use it because it has soy sauce in it, like I guess dried soy sauce, and soy sauce has wheat. Yeah, maybe that's why I didn't remember that I had it, because I was thinking I can't really even use it. I think what I'll do is I'll send this back with my husband when he goes back out of town, because he can make it in his Instant Pot. And this is the last one. This is chicken broccoli rice, and this one has dairy in it, so I will make this when he is not home. But this one, it's just chicken, rice, broccoli, shredded cheese. This is the one that I need. Well, I need both the shredded cheese for both the bacon ranch chicken and the broccoli chicken rice. So anyway, I think I've probably talked way longer than I need to about my groceries and my recipes and my meal plan. I hope that gave you just some insight into meal planning, and maybe gave you some tips. I don't know. Maybe you're like, why are you showing us how to make a grocery list? I've been doing this for years. I don't know. Maybe someone out there isn't used to doing this. Who knows? I don't know, whatever. I'm just making a video, it's fun. Okay, so that is gonna be it for me for this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you really liked it, please consider subscribing because I do have other videos like this on my channel and chances are you'll like some of those too. So anyhow, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.